like it's 6:30, so we'll go ahead and get started. I'll call to order the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for today, July 1st, 2025. Can we get a roll call, please?
Ahern?
Here.
Janizer?
Here.
Mickelson?
Here.
Ward?
Here.
Bathke?
Here.
Willer?
Here.
Yachty?
Here. Great. Okay, and just welcoming our new commission member, Zach, today, and the reappointment of Josie. Great. Moving on to item number 4, approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
I second.
All right, motion carries. Agenda's approved. Moving on to item number.
Nope.
Oh,
Got to vote.
Vote.
say
So close.
All in.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Okay, now the motion passes.
There you go.
On it. Moving on, item number 5, any public comment? Okay. Moving on to item number 6, which is a preliminary site plan. We'll start with the staff presentation.
Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, so this is a request of the Iowa City Community School District to approve a preliminary site plan for a parking lot addition, small parking lot addition. Overall property is about 26 acres. This is North Central Middle School, so it's located at the northeast corner of East Forever Green Road and South Front Street. The property is zoned public use, P, and the future land use map designation is public, semi-public, so the zoning is consistent with the land use. And just a very small parking lot addition. This would be kind of just northeast of the existing roundabout. It's a little hard to see, but if you could zoom in on your screens, you can kind of see where the future Forever Green Road extension will be. So it's going to be outside of that area. So this is 20 parking spaces, a pedestrian connection. This would be in the location of the portables have been removed. So this is in the location of where the portables were. Oh. So pretty easy request. We appreciate that the school board worked with us to get site plan approval, but pretty easy. And so we do have one finding that it achieves consistency with our approval standards, and staff recommends you accept that one listed finding and forward the request to City Council with a recommendation for approval. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any applicant presentation?
Good evening, John Marner with MMS Consultants representing the applicant. No presentation, just again to echo Russ's statements. We've worked with staff to make sure that we had screening and met all the requirements necessary for the site. And I'm available for any questions if you have any.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, John.
Any public comment? Wonderful. Any questions or comments?
None from me.
Seems like
Cut and dry to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no other questions. I'll entertain a motion.
Okay, I'll move that the Planning Commission accept the listed finding and forward the preliminary site plan to the City Council with a recommendation for approval.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a roll call vote, please.
Bathke?
Aye.
Yachty?
Aye.
Ahern?
Aye.
Mickelson?
Aye.
Janizer?
Aye.
Ward?
Aye.
Willer?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Moving on to item number 8, a preliminary site plan. I'll start with a staff presentation.
Okay, so this is overall, there was some rezoning last year. Majority of it was rezoned to C3, which is our higher intensity commercial district. Overall, this is the Creekside 2. This would be a Hodge development, but they've kind of built out the west side of Bernardi Drive, and then this would be the east side. They also own the lot to the east of that, adjacent to Front Street as well. So this is kind of the phased development here. This would be a 4-lot subdivision, 6.32 acres. We are at the northeast corner of West Forever Green Road and Bernardi Drive. On the left is a zoning map. Again, they rezoned the majority of it to that C3. Previously, it was zoned RM21, so they left out a portion along that north strip as remained as RM21 with the idea that they would construct some type of multifamily. It was a small enough strip that it really limited them to really townhouses, which you'll see on the next request. And then the future land use map designation is urban high intensity. So both of those zonings are consistent with future land use map. And it's just a pretty straightforward, 4 kind of chunks of lots. We don't have a lot of public infrastructure being dedicated, so there's no roads and water and sewer mains, so it's a pretty easy request. But it's just 4 lots and related 6 infrastructure. You may recall when the rezoning was approved, at least for the C3, and the majority of this development is that we'll see in the next one is in the RM21. It's just they're going to have a shared road down the middle that they'll build now. But the portion of the C3 development, the council restricted the uses on there. So there's only a limited number of uses that can be done on there. Child care center, multifamily, mixed use development, a bank, an office, or a medical office, and that there'd be no direct access to West Forever Green Road. So even though it's got that C3 designation, many of the uses that would otherwise be permitted, they really can't do. And they didn't have a problem with that. They had a limited scope that they wanted here, and so they were agreeable to that. So since the subdivision plat, we do have 2 listed findings, achieves consistency with the comprehensive plan and achieves consistency with subdivision standards. And staff recommends the Planning Commission accept those 2 listed findings and forward the request to City Council recommendation for approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have an applicant presentation?
Again, nothing really to add. This is essentially to take the 1 lot, split it into the 4 lots in preparation for the preliminary site plan that's next on the agenda, and then for possible future development, over the coming months and years on the rest of the property.
Great, thank you. Any public comment? Okay, any questions or comments?
No, pretty
Pretty
straightforward.
straightforward.
Yeah.
Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that the Planning Commission accept the listed finding and forward the preliminary site plan to the City Council with a recommendation for approval.
Okay, great. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, can we have a roll call vote?
Is that the 2 listed findings? Or it's just 1?
For the listed finding and forward the preliminary site plan.
There are
I believe there are 2
on
for this one. Yeah. A motion
Do you want to
to
modify your motion?
modify the motion to include the 2 listed findings would be perhaps well.
Yes. A motion to modify the motion.
I'll move to modify the motion.
Do we
I'll
have,
second
great.
that.
Is that it?
Moving to modify the original.
Sorry.
To include 2 listed findings.
It's all good.
Great. So discussion on that, if you want.
Do we have any questions or?
I think we fixed it.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, so
Okay.
then a roll call
Then
on
we'll-
on the amendment.
Take a roll call vote for the amendment
Yep.
of the motion.
Janizer,
Aye.
Bathke,
Aye.
Weller,
Aye.
Mickelson,
Aye.
Yachty,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Ahern.
Aye.
Okay, and now the motion
now-
that's sitting in front of you is the one that's on the screen up there.
Another roll call.
Yep. We have a roll call vote, please.
Okay. Let's do Ahern,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Yachty,
Aye.
Mickelson,
Aye.
Weller,
Aye.
Bathke,
Aye.
Janizer.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, moving on to item number 9, the urban renewal area amendment.
Nope, we
This
should
one?
be-
Don't worry.
Nope, I skipped one. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Item number 8, preliminary site plan. I'll start with a staff presentation.
Okay, so this is a preliminary site plan for 8 townhouse units, 2 buildings. They're two-story buildings. So this would be on 2 of the lots of the 4. So this overall is 3.06 acres. Again, east side of Bernardi Drive, just north of West Forever Green Road. Here's property location again, RM21 and C3, urban high intensity. So zoning is consistent with the land use. And pretty simple request. Again, it just includes the other lot because they have a common road that comes in to access, which will facilitate access to the multifamily to the north. But ideal situation, we have 0 lot line duplexes to the north, and then townhouses, and then you'd have higher density multifamily. Doesn't get it's not very often where you kind of have a very good transition from lower density to medium to high. So that's pretty good from a zoning perspective. That's kind of how we want things to flow. And, appreciate, again, working with the developer. It was just didn't request the C3 zoning all the way to that border, which would have been tough to support. They knew we talked about stopping short and having that development, which I think would be better. Here's kind of just a rendering of what the townhouses would look like. And again, here's a concept plan. It's just a concept only, but I included it in the packet. You can see the townhouses to the north, and then those 3 buildings would be something of a higher density multifamily there. You picture it probably in the 4 to 5 story range. Because that's commercially zoned, you'll have a higher rate of masonry. So this would be a Hodge multifamily development. So hopefully, something we see in Iowa River Landing would be great. But, when we talk about multifamily in these locations, they're not always appropriate in all locations, but this kind of checks all the boxes for higher density trails, arterial road, close to services in the new hospital and things like that. So we're excited that this development's going to get going. So this will be a good one. We do have one listed finding which achieves consistency with approval standards, and staff recommends you accept that listed finding and forward the request to the City Council with a recommendation for approval. Thank you.
All right. Do we have an applicant presentation?
Again, nothing really to add, no formal presentation. The townhomes that you see there in the renderings are similar to the ones directly to the west on the other side of Bernardi Drive. It's identical townhomes. I'm available for any questions if you have any.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Okay, any public comment? Great. Any questions or comments?
Russ, at what point would we do, or have we done a traffic study on that Forever Green Bernardi intersection? I know personally, anytime after 3 o'clock, it's hell at that intersection. And if we're
Well,
adding-
yeah, I think you're influenced by the school traffic, right, at that point? Is that?
And coming from the hospital, trying to get out of performance fitness onto Forever Green is a lot.
Yeah, we've looked at, I remember when we did the rezoning, we looked at what we anticipate were traffic counts. So we didn't see a problem with the overall capacity. We do think there are going to be some small pain, I guess, if you will, until Forever Green Road gets extended.
Is
But
there a roundabout?
yeah, at one point in time, so this stretches Coralville's. Thank you, Grant. I know that Coralville does have conceptually a roundabout at that intersection. It's been a couple of years, but Coralville did a warrant analysis with our metropolitan planning organization, and they didn't feel it was warranted at that time, but it is in the long-term goal of theirs to have a roundabout at that intersection. Thank you.
Well, I suppose at this phase too, it's just the townhouses. It's not the additional multifamily south of that, but that made me think of a couple hundred more additional people living that close. So,
Yeah,
all right, but thank you.
no, good question.
Anything else? No. Okay, if nothing else, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the Planning Commission accept the listed finding and forward the preliminary site plan to the City Council with a recommendation for approval.
Great, in a second.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mickelson,
Aye.
Janizer,
Aye.
Ahern,
Aye.
Babke,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Willer,
Aye.
Yachty.
Aye. Great, motion carries. Okay, now moving on to item number 9, Urban Renewal Area Amendment. We'll start with a staff presentation.
Okay, I'll take this one tonight. Thank you, Russ. We have met with Murray Elite, this would be Kenyon Murray and his team, about a large 50,000 square foot facility. It would include, I think, 4 gyms, large workout area, physical therapy, other types of office space for a sports complex out there. you may have just seen in the news that I think it was just this week, Corda Credit Union is going to be the main sponsor for this facility. They're asking the city for a tax rebate, an incentive in the form of a tax rebate. We've done these on other projects. If you think of like the bowling alley, Bulldogs, and the Palestra, things like that. And so we've met with them. They actually met with the city council already to talk about their plan. Council has given tentative approval to move forward. One of the steps in the process to grant an incentive to this project is that the urban renewal plan is updated. Planning and Zoning Commission is required to look at all urban renewal plan updates. That's what you have in front of you tonight. So we're asking that you recommend approval of the update to the city council, and then they will take action on it next week. I'd be happy to answer any questions about the urban renewal process. I can answer limited questions probably about the project itself. I would be happy to attempt.
And the actual site plan for the Murray Elite facility, we're still working on some of those details. Anticipate that it'll come to the Planning Commission hopefully next month, but you should begin to see that pretty soon.
Is it located right on the corner, the building?
Right on the corner. Yep.
Okay.
Does approval of this have any impact on the development off of 965 that we've been talking about, or that has come
No.
here before?
Totally
Approving
separate.
one doesn't discount the other one or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
Both of these developments. So when we do economic development projects like this, we really try to focus on that project generating the revenue for that incentive. So in this case, this is a little bit different than the last one, because in this case, it's a rebate. So only what they pay in the form of property taxes is what's rebated to them after they pay it. So that's what the process we'll be going through here.
Do we have any public comment? Okay, any questions or other comments from the board?
So that 1.312 is projected over, that's, how many
8
years is
years.
that? 8 years, okay.
And we might not know this yet, but with their development, do we know if they're planning to have any anything for like nonprofits or be involved in helping with some of the city programming? So I know that spaces.
Yeah, what we anticipate and what we've talked to them about, as well as like the CVB, who hosts a lot of these basketball and volleyball tournaments throughout the corridor, is that this facility would complement others like the Palestra and the Green State Fieldhouse, as an example, to bring in large tournaments into the corridor and, of course, generate revenue in the economy. They will have specific programming for various age groups, and they will be offering, I can't remember the number, but it's multiple scholarships per year, so that folks who may not be able to afford their programming would be able to take advantage of it. And if you've heard Kenyon speak before, he's got a pretty neat story. He came up relying on facilities or services like this in Michigan. And one of the things that he focuses on is when these kids need that additional assistance, then that they're also more engaged in the facility. They'll help with events to kind of pay off that tuition, or really get them engaged in the community. So I am not doing his, he tells the story much better than I do. I'm not doing it justice, but there will be some opportunity for serving the underserved there.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely appreciate the benefit of the economic impact, but we also have a lot of these really nice facilities going up that, with more people being here and our own rec space getting tighter, you know, being able to
And
work
older.
on, and older, you know, being able to work on some of those relationships so that it's, you know, mutually beneficial. Anything else?
Is the facility geared towards, I guess, what is the age range? Is it throughout the lifespan or geared towards younger participants?
Currently, their program serves, I believe it's 6th through 11th grade, but then they'll be partnering with other programs that serve the lower age ranges, under 6th grade. And so in some cases, it might be a feeder program, when they're working with those younger groups to come into this facility. The other thing I should mention in terms of what this facility will provide, it's not just about sports. A couple of the things that the Kenyans talked about is making sure folks have financial literacy and are adept on the pros and cons of social media. So those are the types of trainings and educational events they want to host there as well.
So what do you need from, so I see the council's going to look at it next week, right? So what do you need from us?
Just
An approval or?
a recommendation to approve the updated urban renewal plan. The plan is saying that we're adding this property, this project into the urban renewal plan, and that we would incentivize the project over an 8-year period.
Any other questions? I didn't want to cut it off, sorry.
No other question?
All right. If there's no other questions, we have a motion.
Yeah, I'll motion to recommend the revised plan as submitted, urban renewal area plan as submitted, and forward to the city council with our recommendation.
Great. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Wonderful. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yachty,
Aye.
Bathke,
Aye.
Weller,
Aye.
Mickelson,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Ahern,
Aye.
Janizer.
Aye.
Okay, motion's approved. Moving on to item number 10, approval of the previous minutes. If there's no questions, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the previous minutes.
All right, and a second.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, motion carries. Moving on to item number 11, planning updates.
Just that we have a pretty full agenda, and if for next month, and you can thank this gentleman here in the audience for that.
Hardest working man in MMS.
That's
Doesn't have
right.
a punch card,
So,
does he?
yeah,
How
we've
many
got
visits? He gets a free ice cream cone?
got a decent agenda, which just can. It's been a for certainly an up year, but man, this has probably been one of our busier years. So just and you drive around right now, it's just like, holy cow, is there a lot going on right now? So, yep, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. If nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
And a second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, meeting adjourned.
Work team.
Coaster safe.